Good morning, everybody. Welcome to, or good afternoon. Welcome to Wednesday morning and afternoon live stream with Neely and Lindsay.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Here and ready to chat with our coffee. Do you have your coffee this morning?
I am trying to forgive my lighting, and yes, I have coffee.
Me too.
I'm highly distracted at the moment, folks, which is totally normal. Yeah. I currently have just plain old black coffee, and I'm so ridiculous. I have a backup plain black coffee.
Yeah, you can never be too safe.
And then I have a backup water as well. I don't know.
I have my coffee with cream, and then I have my, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. My backup breakfast keto chow.
Nice.
That I have not finished yet. But I had to have my coffee for the coffee chat, or else it would.
Yeah. Otherwise, like, all the things happen that are poor in the existence. Also, hold up your cup, because I feel like we kind of have like a similar-ish feel going inverse.
Yeah. Woodland animals. One of them is just personified. The other ones are not.
One is a caricature.
Yes. We match. We always match.
We do. We're doing all the things all the same all the time.
Always. Okay, so first in the chat this morning, of course, was Blaze and Cindy.
Blaze and Miss Cindy.
Yes. And I don't know if someone comments on my YouTube video live stream before I log in, do I not see those? Because I wonder, because it could be that someone else commented first and I just didn't know.
It is highly probable. I don't
want to, offend anybody if someone else really
commented. Right, we don't want to slight anybody. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Blaze, because she like hangs out for hours before we show up because she's that dedicated.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, Blaze, I feel like, is the auntie we all need. She's always there.
I agree. And Cindy is here, of course, but she's not here for long. Has an appointment. I mean, an appointment during our live stream is just...
How very dare the appointment setter do that?
Okay, so Cheryl asked a question before we got on, or made a comment, I suppose. Said, I would like to see you do recipes. And I wrote back, but I haven't heard a reply yet.
Okay.
I just asked, is she talking about like during our live streams? Like, because that would be fun. I don't know how we would be able to like make that work with children and kitchens and all that. But that would be a little bit fun to do a recipe or something in the kitchen together.
Yeah, I think that would be super fun if we could manage to like not only be able to like face-to-face talk, but have like a producer managing the stream.
That is really what we are missing.
To be able to say like, okay, so we can see our faces, and then producer could cut to like a different camera that could be pointed at whatever it was that we were cooking.
Yes.
If we had some sort of a remote producer that was able to be able to produce it and give us direction and just say like, here, Lindsay, this is your steps for your checklist to get checked in. Neely, here's your steps to check in. Also, we need this producer to be working for a very meager salary and come prepared with all of the tools and softwares, et cetera, necessary at their own expense.
Yes. If you feel like you would be a good fit for this job, please send your resumes on over.
Contact us on our YouTube pages.
Yes. So I was a guest on Anita's live stream a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And she has a team. Like that woman has it all figured out. And I was like, wow, I really need this.
Yeah, goodness. I just personally don't have more capacity to figure out anything more or be able to be a good team member or, like co-team mate. I mean, this right here is as consistent as I personally can attain at this stage of my life.
Yes, and that is okay. And I definitely, in my YouTube journey, I have come to accept that I can't just do all of the things. Like, it has to be what it is, and it has to be doable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you see people, come onto the YouTube scene, and you kind of watch them try to do everything, have all the camera angles, have the microphones, have, perfect
Yeah.
lighting, and it's just like, unless you're Harry from Loving It on Keto, apparently he can do all those things.
Yeah.
Unless you're him, a lot of times it just like burns you out.
It
So,
does.
yeah.
I would also suggest that Harry is only the part-time on-screen talent, and
Right.
he
Well, see,
doesn't
they have a
seem
team.
they're teamed up because who's managing the food production part of the process?
Exactly.
Wendy's the one cooking the food, and Harry offers excellent commentary and support. So it's a team situation. So when you're soloing it, plus
Yes.
managing your real life, you've got to make modifications or accept the season of life that you're in.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's see. Eclectic Cabin is here.
Hey, howdy,
Sylvia
hey.
is here. Milady Laugh a Lot is here. I like that name.
That is cute.
Destin at Play is here. Rickwin is here.
Hi, Rickwin.
And Michelle and Mary and Chris Bear did not know you wore glasses.
Well, so I wear glasses for like reading and things like that. And sometimes whenever things are kind of like fuzzier based on, just like whatever I'm, going through,
Right.
I will wear them for support.
Yes. I wear glasses when I drive.
Mm.
And I don't like them otherwise.
See, I don't mind my glasses at all. It's just one of those things where it's like one more piece of the puzzle to have to manage, and I refuse to ever consider contact lenses because the thought of touching my eyeball, it makes me want to.
Well, I wore contacts for many, many years, and I just wore them every day, put them in as soon as I got up, took them out as soon as, right before I went to bed. And I did not take into consideration eyeball health or the fact that eyes, deteriorate the more you wear glasses and contacts. And
they become like crutches.
Yes. Once I started doing research about that, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I took them out, and it was a really big adjustment.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, like, my eyes burned for a couple of days after I took them out because they weren't used to being exposed to everything all day long. And then like trying to not wear any correction to, let my eyes actually have a chance to not get worse, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I remember going into Fred Meyer grocery store and trying to shop without glasses or contacts, and like I felt like I was gonna have a panic attack. It was so weird. Like, all of a sudden, having been able to see beautifully for however many years with my contacts, and then trying to function without them, it was quite the adjustment. Now I don't miss them at all. I don't want them. I've even, there's been a couple of times where I've tried to wear them. Like, we were in Yellowstone Park. I was like, oh, it'd be nice just to have them in so I could see everything. And I was like, I can't do it. And I had to take them out midway through the day. So I'm done with contacts.
So I have questions.
Okay.
Right now, what you see is not clear then.
So seeing the computer from here, I have no problem. It's distance more that I have an issue with, but it's a pretty mild prescription.
Okay.
So it's not bad. Like I could drive without glasses. I just wouldn't be able to read signs very easily.
Sure.
And so it's like, if there was an emergency, I would absolutely drive without my glasses to the hospital, and I think that would be fine. But just to be extra safe, I do wear them while I drive. But I don't feel like I really need them. And there are some times where I like miss it, where the kids will be like, "Oh, look, it's a whatever in the forest," and I'm like, "I can't see it. Where?" But it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare.
Is it like when Two Crazy Ketos and the bears were snorkeling or were scuba diving, and there was a giant sea turtle right in front of Chris, but he couldn't see it. Is that what it's like?
Sure. I'd say it's probably just like that.
Exactly like that. So here's my question then. Caitlin, my oldest, she'll be 13 in November. I started noticing with her that she would just constantly like squint at everything when she was about 7. So we got her eyes checked. Some serious correction was needed for her eyes. And so she started wearing glasses, and she's like the poster child for eyeglass care and management. Like the only time her glasses ever got even just like torqued was one time when she and her sister were roughhousing, and it was able to be fixed immediately. But every year, like year over year, her prescription has gotten worse and worse and worse. But she can, like, if I'm at, like, right now I'm about 24 inches, maybe 20 inches from my camera right here, right? She would not be able to read that like what's happening on the screen clearly. Yeah. And her far distance vision is also bad. So I'm like, and it's continuing to get worse. I mean, she's been in glasses for almost, 5.5 years, almost 6 years at this point. So it's like, could she improve her eyesight? Like, but I also wonder, like, going through the puberties tends to shift, and childhood growing tends to shift your eyes as well. So I'm like, at some point, my baby angel is going to have some sort of like either like wicked thick lenses or some sort of corrective surgery, because it is not looking good for her.
Oh, that's too bad. Renee is my one child with glasses, and she, so I have a minus prescription, which is more normal, or like more common, I should say.
Yeah.
And she has a plus prescription, and I don't fully understand that kind of prescription, because I do know with the minus prescriptions, like the more you use them, the more you need them. And it's just like a continual process. So it's kind of like, I mean, you need to correct your vision for driving and stuff like that. Like that's
safety concerns.
But then as much as you can get away with not using it, and then there are exercises and things you can do to help improve your eyesight. But that makes sense to me with the minus prescriptions, but I don't fully understand the plus prescriptions.
Sure.
And for Renee, she has the alternating esotropia, where it's like one eye will turn off, and she'll just be looking with the other eye. And when she doesn't have her glasses on, that's more likely to happen. So like the damage that can be done from, suppressing the eye, like it's
more intense,
way more worth it to have the glasses to help prevent that. And then thankfully her prescription has not really changed over the last several years. Like even since she got glasses, it hasn't been like a progressive thing. It's only very slightly changed. And I wonder if it very slightly changes because she's more articulate in the appointment where she, is able, 1 or 2, like all that stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to think
I like to think that the eye doctors have enough experience to say, like, okay, let's try to discern, is this kid like actually struggling more, or is this real? Like, because we went and had our regular, like me and Lauren had our yearly eye checkups, and Lauren is very susceptible to the power of suggestion. Being 6, she's very excited about all of the attention, and whatever she believes might get her more attention is the direction she's going to respond. You could ask her, is this sky blue? Yep. Is this sky red? Yep. Do you feel me touching your leg when you're not touching her leg? Yeah. I mean, wow, that kind of hurts. Like, I constantly tell her, you need to be a better actress if you're going to try to make this a career. So anyway, it's just one of those things where it's like, I like to think that the doctors have some level of awareness. Like we've had a lot of children through here, and we know that it's kind of hard for them to take the concept we're asking them and for them to respond in an appropriate way. Or like you said, Renee becoming more and more articulate as she ages up. That also probably really helps. But Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, did you see that your mother-in-law was here? And
My
she
mom in love.
Yes.
No.
Go.
I'm gonna have to scroll.
Now I lost it.
We're scrolling through the chat box.
No. I've lost everything. Oh, there. There we go.
Hey, that's my mom in love.
Yay. And then Chris was asking, are you the one that made Jared?
She didn't make Jared, she made Jard. Because his name is a double R, so it looks like jarred pizza. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Very good. Very good. Let's see. Ooh, camping on the Oregon coast.
That's fun.
Internet connection, not fun, but camping on the Oregon coast is fantastic near Rockaway Beach. Have you been to Rockaway Beach?
So the only time I've ever been to the Oregon coast was when it was springtime of 2010, and I could not tell you exactly which beach we wound up at, to be honest.
Yes.
It's been a few years.
Very fun.
Is it? The one thing I loved about the West Coast, or at least like the Northwest Coast, was the black sand. I love that part about it. How it was like so different compared to like the sugar sand that you can find on Florida coastlines, or the pebble sand that you find when you're like on the East Coast. It's so wild.
We went to a beach, and I have some video on it, but we went to a beach. I forget where exactly it was, but it had like river rock, obviously ocean rock, but like just the whole thing, just huge. And then the waves would come in and like wash out, and like the sound of them all like, it was the most incredible thing. It was so cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. I'm trying to remember when we went to San Francisco, and then we went up to like the northern coastline up in California during the summertime for a minute. And I want to say right there where I think is it the Russian River meets the Pacific Ocean. It looked like it was pretty rocky right there too. It's kind of wild just how different the beach can be depending on your location.
Yeah. They're amazing. Yeah. Chris Bear, sea turtle thing.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes we need help remembering things.
Never forget the sea turtle.
Never forget.
Okay. And then Chris says, yeah, but Renee didn't think bacon goes on everything, which is clearly incorrect. I know. So, as a mother, I try to do my best to raise my children in the right way with the right, morals and the ability to handle what life throws at them, and sometimes
a realistic perspective on the world.
Yes. And sometimes it just slaps you in the face that you are a failure.
Well, and it just doesn't always take.
Exactly. Well, the only thing that gives me a little bit of hope is that she's not grown up and out of the house yet. There's still time.
There's still time. You've got like a decade with her still.
That's got to be enough time to convince her that bacon is good for everything.
Right? I think it's just there's time, and we can pray.
And so some children, they're just really easy to train up, and they receive all of the instruction that you give them, and it's wonderful. And then there's others that are just stubborn, and they fight you when you try to put bacon on cheesecake.
It's a good time. I love it.
Yeah. Jennifer Fine is here. Francesca is here.
Jennifer and Francesca.
Doug Green says trying to read subtitles on the TV is annoying. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sometimes if I'm watching a movie, I'll be like, I just need to wear my glasses for that,
I have this might just be like an aging up thing through maturity, but I have found that if there's not the opportunity for closed captioning on a show, I get a little irritated.
Me too. I need it now.
It's like, I can't, I just, yeah.
So I watched a video that was talking about that. Like, does it seem like you need closed captioning on videos now when you didn't used to? And they were saying that there actually is a reason for it, not just the deterioration of your brain, that actually the way that they're mixing sound these days makes it harder to hear what people are saying.
Yes,
so
I've
that
heard
made me
that.
feel better about myself.
I also tend to struggle with focus in general. So if I hear things in the ambient space that distracts me from what's happening on like whatever it is that I'm watching, and so if I have the words running with me or like giving me clarity, because I also do struggle, like if like you said, the audio mixing is a problem. But if I see the words, my brain can connect the words
Yes.
better, and I can figure it out.
Yeah, it's kind of like those misheard lyric videos.
Yes, those are so
Because they
fun.
put the words on the screen that are wrong, that's what you hear in the song. Okay,
Yep.
Francesca has a question about the egg white bread. I have my mixer going with the egg white bread recipe, and my whites aren't stiffening up even after 14 minutes. Is that normal? Okay, no. And I see your other comment down here. I have had several people tell me that they got the OrgFun egg whites and that they do not mix up. So I need to do a video. I have not personally used them, but I've gotten so many comments from people, because I'll get a comment from somebody saying, my egg whites won't whip up. What's wrong? And I say, what
The
brand
powder.
of egg white powder did you use? And
Yeah,
more times than not, it's the OrgFun brand.
that's
So I don't know if they
interesting.
add sunflower lecithin, or if there's some kind of a processing that they do that does not allow it. That one and the New World Nutritional, there was another name on that, but New World Nutritional egg white
Okay.
powder
There's
does
one the one that I started with egg white protein powder, because it was the least expensive option, was True Nutrition. And it turns out that they also have some sunflower lecithin in theirs, but I never actually tried to do the easy version of just using the egg white powder plus water. When I was using that, I was always using it in conjunction with raw egg whites, whipping the egg whites first, and then adding the egg white protein powder, and then, everything else.
Oh, yeah.
So I never noticed an issue with True Nutrition, because I was never actually doing it with just that.
Yes.
But I bet you that one would not do it either, because it has sunflower
So
lecithin.
sunflower lecithin is not a deal breaker for sure, because there are some brands that have sunflower lecithin and they do eventually whip up.
The 14 minutes.
The keto chow egg white originally had sunflower lecithin, and it did eventually whip up. It just took like twice as long. And then also Judy's has a version that has sunflower lecithin, and it does whip up eventually, but it just takes longer. So I don't know if there's something different about the OrgFun and the True Nutritional, whatever. Or if they use more sunflower lecithin, or like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
But
that was what I was kind of
sunflower
thinking.
lecithin is not necessarily 100% a deal breaker every time, but it does affect it. So sorry to say, like, that's very frustrating. And I've seen on the listing for the OrgFun on Amazon, there are lots of comments or reviews saying it doesn't work for egg white bread. So definitely, before you purchase, try to check out reviews and comments and stuff like that, because people will let you know.
Absolutely.
I recommend the Now brand.
Chris, or I'm sorry, not Chris, but Chef Fat Grams. He just he or she, I'm not sure, said Now as well. That's what I've got now as well.
And then Roseacre Farms also works. And Ryan from Roseacre Farms let me know that he activated one of our coupon codes. I'll put it in here. And I'm going to do a video about it at some point. He said that he was low. I think he said he was low on the 10 pounds, and he wanted to restock that before I made a video about it. But the coupon code is active. Let me put that in.
That's fantastic.
I don't know why he made it egg sale 2024 at the beginning of 2023, but I was like, okay, whatever, I'll share it. That's the coupon code for Roseacre Farms. arms.
Maybe it's so that he doesn't have to change it again in 2024.
Maybe. But then
we're already halfway through the year.
Then he deactivated it and gave me a different one that had 2023 in it. So it's a funny guy.
Well, sometimes it's hard whenever you're trying to like think through all the things and decide, okay, should I do this thing or this thing for organization, for this, for that?
Yeah.
And then you commit to one thing and then you're like midway through committing to that and you decide, oh, you know what? This idea is way better. I'm going to do it that way instead. And then it's like, well, that's confusing.
Yes. Okay. So Eclectic Cabin is asking about info about the eyes. That what we were talking about with actually being able to make improvement on your eyes and all that.
Right.
So there is a book, and I have not read it, but I was just talking to somebody about it recently, and I was like, I really need to read it. And I think it was called Take Off Your Glasses and See. That sounds, let me see if I can find it real fast.
That's like a super on the nose type of a title.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, by Jacob Lieberman.
Yes. And I've just heard really good things about it. Let's see. And let's see. There are other people that have like protocols and stuff. And I wish I had them in front of me, but let me see what I can find real fast.
These bugs are just like irritating. They keep I hear bugs like smacking into my window right next to me here. And then we had a birthday party over the weekend and a fly decided to take up residence he decided to squat. That's what he decided to do. And we have not been able to shoo him out the door or make him pay up. So I keep hearing him in here and it's very irritating.
Okay, that's all I can find at the moment. There's other people, and it's been so long since I've looked at them because I went through so much research with Renee when we first started.
Yeah.
And so I had all that, and then I just have not looked at it for so long. And I don't have it in my mind at the moment, but there are some good, and if I can find them, I'll maybe try to put them in the description of this video later. That book I've heard is fantastic.
That definitely sounds like an interesting read.
Goes against the narrative, which, I mean, should we be talking about this on YouTube right now? Going against the narrative, that you just get glasses and then every year you go in and you get a stronger prescription until you're old and you can't see worth anything. And,
right.
Is that really the best option? And I'm not saying it's bad because, like I said, we do need to be able to correct our vision somehow if we're in a place where it's bad and we have to drive.
Right. If it's a safety concern, it's definitely something to manage.
Yeah. And then like for Renee, like I said, she has a condition where if she doesn't wear the correction, her brain's like, well, that's not working. I can't see worth
Stop
anything.
using the eye.
It's a lot easier just to look with one eye. So I'm just going to do that all the time. And then, then you can become blind in an eye because your brain forgets how to use it. And obviously that's a problem. So trying to find
cool with an eye patch though.
She did do that for a little while when we were going to a regular ophthalmologist, and it was pretty adorable.
Or, like if the eye fully stopped working, she could have one of the 9 pieces of 8 from Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm sure that's her dream in life. The ballerina with the eye patch.
You never know. Like they could be like writing ballets for her.
That's true. One of my favorite memories. It like both breaks my heart and makes my heart happy at the same time. When she was 2.5, almost 3, I think it was, when she got her first pair of glasses, and we were coming out of the glasses store where we picked them up. So she's wearing them for the first time and she's looking around, of course, like everything looks different. And she looks at me and she says, "Do ballerinas sometimes wear glasses?"
Yes, precious baby angel. They always do.
Yes, they do. Let me tell you what.
Only the best ones do.
Yes. And so then when she had her first ballet recital, I was just like, she answered her own question.
That's precious.
Like makes me want to melt and die. Anyways.
So precious.
Yes, my heart explodes. Let's see. So Chris is saying our daughter Ruth. So Charity's middle name is Ruth. We love that name. Anyways, our daughter Ruth also had
Remember
a bunch
when she was called Ruthie and then she changed it?
changed her name. My favorite name is Charity. But she was baby Ruthie. Anyways, had a bunch of issues with her eyes and had to wear the patch for a few hours a day. We taught her to say R, I'm a pirate. So it wasn't something bad. It was cool. Yeah. We always tried to make it really fun. And like we still do with the vision therapy. Like we get to play games. This is great.
Right.
No, it's not a negative thing. We at least try to make it not a negative thing.
For sure.
Yeah. Infinitely Blessed is saying, always believe that vision issues can be resolved naturally. And like a lot of things, obviously there's some things that you can't. And like, we're super thankful for any, medical intervention that is necessary and that, gives health in certain ways. But then as much as we can, like, why wouldn't we naturally try? And I recognize that it is a lot of work and it is like time and energy and devotion. Like I'm not doing eye exercises right now when I definitely could see improvement, but it's just another thing. And like, for example, Renee, like the traditional ophthalmologist, like he was about ready to send us for surgery. Like, what was that? 5 years ago, we could have gone in for surgery and, with the hope that that would fix her problem. Instead of that, we started doing vision therapy, which we did for about 3 years, 2 or 3 years. And then, we took our break and then now we're back at it again. So it's however many years of work that we're doing when the alternative option was we'll schedule you a date for surgery and then it would be done, which it wouldn't be probably, but it's just it's like writing a prescription for a medication rather than changing your diet and lifestyle. Like, we've all seen that meme with the 2 windows. One of them says, medication or life-altering surgery or whatever, or change your diet and lifestyle. And like, there's the line going for this one and there's no one that the other one. And that's the world we live in. So I understand that, like, sure would be nice to just schedule a date and say, this is going to fix our problem after this one thing.
Yeah.
A lot more to commit to making it a daily routine, a habit of doing these exercises. And I get
making choices.
I totally get it. And it's like we've talked about, there's only so much we can do. Like, we make all of our food from scratch and we work on our children's oral health in more natural ways, and we work on the eye health. We try to optimize our sleep. We try to get, sunlight and grounding and like all of these things. And it's like, at some point it's like, just give me a pill. Like, please, can I just take a pill? So I'm tired
and I want a break.
Yeah. And you do kind of have to prioritize certain things at certain times because we can't do it all of the time.
Right.
And so like we did, we prioritized her vision therapy for those few years. And then we were at a place where it would have taken a lot of time to make the progress she needed to make because of her age and, her ability to communicate. So we're like, okay, we're going to deprioritize this in this
for
time.
A season.
Yes, because we're okay. We're kind of at a stable place and we'll wait until she's a little bit older and then we'll, get back into it, which that's where we're at right now. So I totally get it. And there are times for medications and there are times for different approaches, more natural approaches, like no judgment, seriously. And then I've heard from people that have had, surgery, like she was offered, and that they're so happy that they went and did that surgery. So it's like, again, no judgment on that either. It wasn't the right choice for us. And like, I'm really happy with the choice that we made. But I would never begrudge anyone making a different choice in that situation. All right.
Here.
What's going on in the chat over here?
Hey, while you're hunting the chat for something else to say, you said oral health. And so I've got a fun, exciting thing. We went to the dentist this morning for our 6-month checkup.
Uh-huh.
And I'm so jazzed because all four of us Murphy girls were completely in good oral health, no issues. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll see you in 6 months.
Isn't
and I was like,
best? Isn't that the best?
We're winning at life.
Yeah.
We may not all have good eyesight, but we're winning on the teeth front.
Yes. Let's see.
But like going through those specific practices, whether it's like, following the Andrew Huberman version of like the morning routine, or it's I'm just lucky that I can get up, brush my teeth, and make my way to the coffee maker. Like there's different seasons for everything, and you have to, in making one decision, you're sacrificing a different possible decision. And that's sort of like where the struggle lies. And you have to either give freely of your time to one area and restrict your time in another area, or not be able to give your time fully to both and just kind of be content to mediocrely, no, that's not a word, do things with mediocrity in all the fronts. It's like, are you willing to go 2 miles deep in this narrow little fishing hole, or would you rather have a puddle that stretched out for 2 miles that could only be a half inch deep?
That's deep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah. And we have talked about that on here many times, about the way we are with YouTube and, with parenting and, keeping the house clean. It's like,
or even with regular just diet and eating.
Yeah.
Keep going. You were doing great. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interject.
No. Oh, so we were talking yesterday,
because we do that.
Offline. We do that. And we were talking about a lot of stuff. So it'd be hard to
about a lot of stuff.
We were talking about tools and about using the right tool for the job.
Yep.
And having things be doable, because you were talking about like you could go use your husband's chainsaw, but it was that the thing?
No. So the one that I landed on that really, like, the analogy that really kind of was like that drove it home right there. Using your tools properly, right? So a hammer and a sledgehammer are performing similar tasks. They are driving a weighted object on a stick through something, or to purpose for something. So my thought was, both tools are useful, but you don't want to use a sledgehammer to drive finishing nails. So using the right tool for the job. And I, in my brain, was starting to equate that, like, in this space where we reside on the internet, with sort of a more mindful approach to food in general, whether that's just like low carb, keto lifestyle, or ketovore, or carnivore, or lion diet, or any of those monikers that you wish to stand in when you are choosing to eat. Sometimes choosing the sledgehammer approach for something that is like a finishing nail might be a little bit much. So it's one of those deals where you're going to have to make a different choice, or kind of like restrain yourself from choosing the biggest, baddest sledgehammer to get this tiny little detail job done, and go with a finishing hammer. Like, choose the right tool for the job. And if you're trying to find health or wellness, and you're trying to use it with diet, and you do line up with the idea of, let's cut out the sugar, let's cut out the processed things, let's cut out the simple carbs, let's cut out all of these things, you're going to have to choose the right hammer for that job. And I personally equate a carnivore choice as a sledgehammer, and a low carb lifestyle kind of being like the lighter version of all of that, like a tiny little like ball peen hammer or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to go in and say, well, I'm just going to make I'm just going to demo the whole thing and sledgehammer everything and then try to build it up from nothing.
Unless your health is so in such a horrible place that you do need to do that. And some people do.
That's valid.
Yeah.
That is valid. But using a sledgehammer for a job that only needs either just like a standard hammer, it might be a bit much. And just because you can wield the sledgehammer doesn't mean that sledgehammer is better than the standard hammer. So none of them are better or worse than each other. They just perform different functions for different tasks.
Right.
And I've lost my trains of thought, so I'm going to let you try to pull my analogy to reality.
So when you were sharing that yesterday, it made me think of, it's similar, just a little bit different spin on that idea. Because, okay, so my husband is one who wants to get quality of anything. If we're going to invest in if he's going to invest in having a tool, he's going to, find the best. And I mean, obviously there's like a spectrum, like cheapest. So he's not going to just go for the cheapest. That's not his highest priority. He's got a pretty high level of priority on quality. And so if there's something, that's quality and also, cheap, whatever, or in a decent price range, he doesn't go to like the most extremely expensive ones unless that ends up being the right choice. Anyways, so we have this, we got this set of screwdriver. It's like a little tiny screwdriver thing. And it has all the different bits and a little tiny screwdriver. And I think someone gave it to him for Christmas, like, oh, let's get the man a tool. And it's like this dinky little, screwdriver.
It's good for tiny little electronic dudes.
Yes. And so, and he's like, oh, cute, and he's got like these expensive sets of, drills and screwdriver, all the things.
Right.
And he's like, ugh, so dumb. But we put that little set of screwdrivers in our drawer and it gets used all of the time. And so there was one point where it's like, I think we use these screwdrivers more than any, like, I had no idea that it would be so used. And it's just because it's there, it's doable, it's simple. Is it the best screwdriver ever made? No. If you were going to go build a whole house, would you ever use that? No. But when something breaks in the house and you just need a screwdriver real fast, it's right there and it's easy.
Proximity matters.
Yes. And it's just simple and it's always there. That's the thing. It's like you go try to hunt down your perfect tool and it's like, where did I put that again? It's like, anyways, it's always there and it's doable and it's easy. And I kind of feel that way about diet, where there was a time where I was like, I need to find the perfect, best, top of the line diet that is perfect. But when I went that far in perfection of diet, it made it not accessible in my everyday life. Like it made it not easy to implement.
Right.
And so sometimes it's like you have to recognize that the perfection is actually detracting from the thing itself. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And just the fact that it's there and it's easy is a benefit, even though it's not as perfect as something else you imagine. Okay. Sense.
Absolutely. If it's a low barrier to entry or a low barrier of resistance, it is always going to be better than saying, I have to go and hunt down everything, do everything, be everything, and perform everything.
Yeah. So like we're talking about, I mean, it applies to diet, it applies to eye health, it applies to oral health. It's like, yeah.
It applies to homemaking.
Exactly. It applies to just life. Like we could go and design the perfect program or system of any of these things, but if it's not doable and functional in our lives, it's not worth anything. So like finding that balance between something that's effective,
right,
and doable, that's the trick. That's the trick. I
absolutely.
feel like I've done that with my like tried to make that shift with my diet. Like it's not, it doesn't have to check all of these perfection boxes as far as nutrients and, you know, enough intermittent fasting and, you know, enough of this and that. It just has to be good enough, and it has to be something that I can do.
Absolutely. I remember whenever back in 2016 when I first like committed to going sugar-free and flour-free and all that jazz. It was one of those things where it was like, okay, I got to do it all. Granted, I was only homeschooling one kid at the time, and I only had two kids at the time, and we were in a new place where I didn't really have a ton of friends. We didn't have a ton of activities. So I had a lot more disposable time on my hands to be able to get into this and to be able to figure everything out. And then it wasn't just good enough to say, well, I'm going to eat, you know, like the Dr. Berg version of keto, where it's like 12 million cups of salad plus a small amount of protein plus healthy fats. And there you go. And so it was like just a sort of like a progression into, okay, well, now that I've done all of that, let's sort of shift our focus to more protein. Let's sort of shift our focus to more fat. Oh man, maybe I should just be eating like sticks of butter and then having like just like 1 ground patty of ground burger a day. And
I've
maybe
heard that fixes all problems.
You know, I've heard that too. I've also heard that drinking the oil out of a tin of sardines is where it's at. So
but then it makes you want to die. So there's
oh my word, when I did that, I was
doable.
like,
That's the perfect example. Maybe it is the best nutritional choice you can make, but I am not doing it.
But also, why?
If you don't enjoy your life, then is it really worth living?
That's right. That is right. Also, I'm pretty sure that if I were to just sit there and eat tins of sardines and drink the oil the sardines are packed in as my source of nutrition, I would not need to worry about managing the rest of my family because they would never want to be around me.
It would kick you out.
Could be like, I'm sorry, we're done with you.
We're done. Wow. Anyways, that's our deep thoughts for today.
We had some really good deep thoughts in our conversation, but it's really hard to try to like collate those into the same, like into one conversation, because our conversations really kind of start from point A and then they do this and then eventually they wind up at point B.
Yeah, with a lot of interruptions in between.
Oh man, and 90% of them are me.
No, 90% of them are our children.
I mean, I'm okay, valid. Yeah. But the rest of them
they
are
all came from us,
ideas.
So
I'm like,
it's all our fault.
It is. We just need to be better.
Cheryl Davis, not exactly the same topic, but are you familiar with Dr. Chris Knob, the ophthalmologist who talks about macular degeneration and eye conditions being the result of poor nutrition? I am not.
But I can tell you what we're going to do. We're going to make a little note of that so we can go look it up.
Yes. I think, I like, doesn't that just make sense?
Absolutely.
Degeneration has to do with nutrition. And, you know, not that nutrition is the only thing.
Oh, put it back up. I can't type his name that fast. I typed 2 O's instead of 2 B's.
Uh-oh. Yeah, don't do that.
We're good.
Noob.
He's such a noob.
Yeah. And then the carnivore doctor, she's also an optometrist or an ophthalmologist. I don't remember which one. And she talks a lot about, obviously she talks a lot about nutrition being the drivers of degeneration.
For sure. I think what's interesting is like all of these things are always going to come back to nutrition in my mind. You know, you think about Dr. Weston A. Price investigating the dental health of indigenous peoples versus the dental health of people in industrialized areas. And the nutrition was very different, and thus the oral health was very different. And
Yes.
I don't know, it's just one of those things. It seems like so many things can be boiled down to just like these fundamental things. What is your environmental health like? Nutrition, sleep, social, stress, all of these things can really make a tremendous impact on you. And I know those are things that all of us get to hear all the time from all of the experts that we consume information from. But it's just one of those things where we have to hear it at least 17 more times before we're like, right, I know. And now I'm going to act on it.
Yes. Okay, I'm putting a link in the chat to an interview that the carnivore doctor, Dr. Lisa Wiedemann, who is the optometrist or ophthalmologist. I think
She
she's an
was so
ophthalmologist.
cool at KetoCon.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
And she's so tiny.
Yes, and she's got so much passion,
Spunk.
like serious
Oh,
passion.
yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
she did an interview with Dr. Kevin Stock, who was also at KetoCon.
Yeah, the
And
dentist.
he's the dentist. So they did this talking about nutrition and how it relates to eye health and oral health, which that's what we talked about today. So definitely recommend that interview. I love Kevin Stock. I think he has some really great information, and just he's very, very easy to listen to and
Agreed.
knows his stuff really well. His talk at KetoCon was fantastic. So I recommend it.
I missed it.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah. I think, is it online now?
No. It's if you bought the online access, you could get access to it. But if you did not, you could not.
Well, listen to that interview because that has a lot of good.
Yeah, Dustin at Play just popped one up saying that isn't insulin resistance leading to eye issues a known thing? Or maybe it's something he was inferring. I personally agree. Like, I think that has been said in other areas, in lots of information, that it is insulin resistance is kind of one of those main causes of a lot of disease, or a lot of degeneration, or pathology. That's the word I'm looking for. And so I don't know if I could pinpoint somebody specifically saying insulin resistance caused your eye problems.
Yeah.
You, the royal you, not specifically.
Okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I thought you were done.
I'm done. No, I'm all done.
Okay.
You derailed me enough.
There's really clear evidence that high blood sugar is very damaging to everything that it touches. And so like Alzheimer's is brain diabetes, basically. And what was it? Yeah. And so I think that the high blood sugar affects the eyes. I think the high blood sugar affects, obviously sugar in general affects the oral health. So, and then insulin resistance, it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it the insulin resistance that's doing it, or the high blood sugar? Or, I mean, they are so interconnected that it's just all a problem. Like metabolic unhealth, I think, is going to contribute to all of these things deteriorating.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And it's like, we can't avoid aging. We're going to age, but that high blood sugar ages us faster. So as much as we can help keep that in balance, I think the better off we'll be as we do age. So, and I do think it's very well known, but it's like, well, don't just stop eating sugar. We'll just give you a drug. That'll fix it.
Well, and I wonder if that's like, I feel like that particular issue is also so multifaceted. Like, people want the advice from their doctor. Doctors I feel like most doctors go into their profession wanting to truly help those who need help. And people are, it's kind of like if you're a coach, you can't force your team to do exactly the play as you said to do the play. You can't force that on them. They're going to take what you say and try to implement it, but maybe they've got to do something totally different because of whatever's happening on the field. And so it's like I think doctors want to help, but people can't always execute the way that the doctors want them to execute. But then also people want to, this is going to sound terrible, but people want to do the easiest thing. And they want to just be done with it. Like you had said earlier, when it came to the whole like surgery and medication versus a complete life change and overhaul. And it's just really hard because everybody thinks that they want to do better, but in practice, like theories are great, practice is another story. So yeah, having that sort of thing happen is difficult indeed.
Yes. Chris Knob attributes macular degeneration to industrial seed oils. That's interesting. I do think they are pretty inflammatory.
Yeah.
So that it is a different subject, sort of, because it's not sugar. Like industrial oils are not sugar. And in fact, they are keto friendly.
I love motor oil all over my food.
Yum. But hey, you'll stay in ketosis if you're not eating the carbohydrates, but you do dump seed oils on everything, you could probably stay in ketosis. So it is keto friendly. Does not mean it's healthy. And then there are people that really attribute insulin resistance to the PUFAs in industrial seed oils. And they say that's more of a driver than the sugar. And like, well, like the seed oils are like laying the groundwork, and then the excess sugar is, making
exacerbated.
It's like gasoline on the fire, which makes sense. And then there are other people who say that the seed oils, they don't really think that that's the main driver. It's the main driver is the sugar. So there's some back and forth on that. I don't think there's anything that's necessarily set in stone, but a lot of interesting different opinions there. But to be on the safe side, I'll keep my sugar low, and I'll also not have industrial seed oils. So there you go. I'm covered.
I'm going to sit in that boat with you. We'll row it together.
Yeah. Okay. So Mary got some carnivore crisp flour, and the bag was only a quarter full. It does settle a lot. And
it does.
Like that always says on the package, sold by weight, not by volume. So settling may occur. So yeah. And I do agree. It is an expensive product. It's a quality product, and you can't just sell quality products for super cheap, like, bad quality products. So like they price it what they can in order to make a living and pay their employees and all that. And so totally understand if it's not in somebody's budget, like 100%.
Well, and I think that there are so many options out there as far as like Two Crazy Ketos did their version of a chicken flour.
Yes. And Chef Grams, who is on here today, he did a video of making chicken flour in the microwave.
The microwave?
Yeah. Can you believe it? That was crazy. I was like, that is brilliant right there. So anyways,
it can be super accessible for anybody.
Yeah, it was. And I think he even used like a
chicken?
rotisserie.
Oh, rotisserie?
Sure. Yeah. So it was super quick and easy. I was like, this is crazy.
That is crazy. I am starting to be a lot more mindful when it comes to things like poultry when purchasing it, with the new advent of the vat chicken meat production process. So the idea of a rotisserie chicken is way better than the potential alternative of it being just like some sort of cultivated chicken breast.
Yes. So I told, like, if, buying the chicken, well, first of all, you don't have to have chicken flour in your diet.
You really don't. It's unnecessary.
Not required. It really isn't. But if you do, feel like it would enhance your life, you have the option of purchasing, or you have the option of spending the time and energy it takes to make it yourself. It's like, it depends on your lifestyle and, what's more worth it to you. So there's
absolutely
options, but don't forget, there's always the option of, you don't have to have chicken flour. There are other things like pork rinds. Typically, pork rinds work just as well. Like, and all the things that I've tried the chicken flour in, like pork rinds would work also. And those are a little bit more accessible and easy. So there's always options, and you don't have to, just because everybody's doing it on the Instagrams does not mean everyone has to do it.
Accurate. I also am still very fond of my baking blend, and I tend to use that about half the time. And
what are the main ingredients in that?
It's got oat fiber and coconut flour, whey protein isolate.
Oh, okay.
It does have almond flour in it. So like, I know it's one of those things where all of these fibers and all of the nut flours have fallen very out of favor.
Yeah.
And that's another one of those things where it's like, you can go to the extreme of carnivore, lion diet, everything like that.
Yes.
If that's what you need, or if that's what you feel is best for your situation. I have not found there to be a significant enough reason for me to completely eliminate all of the plant foods.
Right.
And I mean, I'm not sitting here just like downing all of the nuts all the time, or making all of the keto treats all of the time. I'm not doing that, but I'm still using those things in our day-to-day life. And it makes it a long-lasting, sustainable lifestyle for me, instead of just saying, okay, well, today we're going to have stuffed burgers with salad, or we're going to have stuffed burgers topped with fried eggs again and again and again. And so for us, it's one of those things where I've not yet seen a definite need for it. So I'm going to continue on, and I do reduce the amount of things that I have, but I kind of get on the wave, like, you know, like the tide rolls in and I'm like, oh man, I got to go and figure out how to swap this out for everything. Like, get rid of all of the potential oxalates in the world so that I can be best. But then the tide pulls back and I'm like, you know, it's not the end of the world. If my body can acclimate to things and can handle things, what's the value add to completely eliminating the things if my body is like, no, we're fine. We're not panicked. We're okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we hit an hour.
Yes.
And now Lynette shows up.
Yay, she's here. Now the party can start.
I've really got other things that I have to do today.
We have been on here for just a bit over an hour now.
Full hour. I get to see Lynette in a couple days.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. I am so jealous. You better give her a hug for me. I want to hear that you did.
Maybe okay.
Yes, Lynette, make sure you hug Lindsay for me. She loves hugs. Don't forget, everybody. Lindsay loves hugs. All right. You're welcome, Chef Matt Grams, for posting. That was an excellent video. Very cool. I have not tried the technique yet, but I love that it's so accessible to everybody.
Does he actually call the microwave the microwave in his video, or was that a missed opportunity?
Definitely. I don't remember. I feel like I would remember if he did. But only very special people call it that.
There's always opportunities to make words be more fun.
More funner.
More funner. Yep. It's a morale booster.
He says missed opportunity. Yeah, for sure.
Missed opportunity. I always do that with the girls. So 2 seconds. My 6-year-old got a wormy from my mom for her birthday, which is like a little stuffed animal, but it's got like not barley, but buckwheat hulls and like lavender and that kind of stuff inside it. And so you can put it in the microwave, it like is a warm little snuggle thing. And so she'll say, Mom, can you put this in the microwave? I'm like, sure.
An accent.
Well, I mean, but the thing is like, that's just what we do in this house. You never know. It could be a Russian accent that is really just like an American thinking she sounds Russian, or an American thinking she sounds Irish, or all the things.
All right. What? Say it.
I was gonna say the only accent that's actually like genuine is the Southern accent that comes out whenever I'm real tired.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's understandable because yeah, Texas accent.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thank you everyone
Well,
for joining us here on our
yes.
coffee chat.
Yeah. It was a
And
good one. We
it
appreciate y'all being here.
was all over the place, but it was good. All right.
And next week when we come back on Wednesday, I will hopefully have stories to share about the
Yes.
Keto Paloozas.
I will be so excited to hear, and I will be there in spirit.
I'll just carry you around. So I figured it out. I'll make a little pocket for my phone that I can just like snap right here on my shoulder and just face or Marco you the whole time. And so it'll just be like right here.
Yeah.
And then I'll just have a camera to be able to like film the things to share it with everybody else.
Exactly.
That's actually not going to happen though, because that requires a lot of energy and I will be so like overwhelmed with all of the experience coming at me that I will be lost in the weeds.
That's
lost
okay
in
too.
the woods.
I just want you to enjoy the experience. Be present, you know?
We'll do our best.
Okay.
And then we'll figure out when we can be together again
I know.
in some capacity.
It's hard when you have a farm.
Farm, family, live on opposite ends of the country.
It's like, who designed this? Serious flaws. All right. Bye, everybody.